As far as China is concerned, India and NATO and European countries and the US, they seem to be on the same page. They are not on the same page as far as countering Russia is concerned, but definitely as far as China is concerned, they are on the same page. In fact, India is a little ahead of NATO and Europe and US in terms of its keenness and desire to push back against China, to restrain China, to counter China's increasing influence and increasing aggressiveness and assertiveness. So in that context, both of them can work together. There are very many possibilities that they can work together. In fact, Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, he had participated in the Raisina dialogue a few months ago, and he had mentioned that he would very much welcome stronger collaborative partnership with India. India, of course, does not wish to become a member of NATO, but increases its partnership, training, and other cooperation activities, and I think that has a good future. Dealing with China or confronting China will be a big dilemma and a challenge for NATO. NATO was constructed, NATO was created to deal with the Soviet Union. And with the Soviet Union, the West, Europe, and the United States did not have very significant economic cooperation and partnership. The same is not true for China. Most of the countries are very heavily invested in China. The German companies, Italian companies, French companies, and even British companies, they are present in China in a very big way. Chinese companies are also present in these countries in a very big way. So they are really, all these countries are really tied at the hip, joined at the hip with China. So for them to get out of that relationship with China will prove to be difficult. However, China's influence is growing, as we have seen in the 17+1 cooperation project between China and Central and Eastern European countries, or China's attempt to sign the Comprehensive Agreement on Investment on the 30th of December 2020. That was also an attempt basically to create stress and tension and cause fissures in the transatlantic alliance between Europe and the United States. China is trying to send around a message that its authoritarian and autocratic system is better than the democratic system. And in that it is expanding and enhancing its influence around the world. So this is a challenge because it's a challenge to the democratic way of life, to the fundamental freedoms, to pluralism, to international rule-based order. And this is what the European countries, the other NATO member countries have to recognize, have to realize, and push back against China. I feel that it will be extremely useful and positive if NATO is able to identify China as a systemic challenge, because there is a desire to both cooperate and also compete with China. And that is what some of the leaders here have said, European leaders have said, like the French President Macron has commented that France does not look upon China as a threat in a similar way as possibly the United States does, because of the distance between the two countries. France cannot feel this threat, this physical threat, security threat from China. But then it is a systemic challenge to the sort of governance, to the way of life, to the way of thinking of democracies. So in that sense, all these countries, NATO countries, will have to get together and will have to see that further inroads of China in these NATO countries will have to be in areas where, not in areas of emergent technologies, 5G, etc., where China can have a total control over their systems. Even Italy, which was the first and the only country in Europe to have signed on to the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, the Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi said that they are having a rethink on it, they are having reconsidering it and might get out of it. But then there are also issues of huge investments and huge, like in Greece, the takeover of the ports there, also in Hungary and other countries. So I think whatever inroads China has made, how to ensure that it stops there and it doesn't proceed forward. I think this is what not only NATO but the European countries, EU and the others who are not members of EU as yet, they will have to see that the advance of China in sensitive areas, in areas which can prove to be a risk or a danger to the security of the countries and of the region, that China is not allowed to enter in those areas. I don't think we can expect a Cold War of a similar nature that existed between the United States and Soviet Union from 1945 till 1991, because China and the West are very closely integrated with each other, both in terms of investments, also trade, business, investments both ways. So I don't think that a Cold War of the nature of the post-Second World War and before the disintegration of the Soviet Union is possible. However, the West will have to rise up to the challenge that China presents. Its increasing global influence, its power, its economic strength, its political and military heft and muscle, and it will have to push back against it. The first decision has been taken by a launch of the B3W, Build Better the World. So this is an initiative of the United States, but it has been adopted by the G7 countries. In that, India has a huge experience in terms of building infrastructure, not only within its own borders, but in many other countries, whether it is Bhutan, Nepal, Africa, Afghanistan, Iraq. So many countries India has gone, and as Prime Minister Modi also said, that in terms of values, democracy, fundamental freedoms, pluralism, rule-based international order, India is the natural ally of G7. So I think this B3W, that is going to be a very good platform which the G7 and Europe can take forward, and of course the other guest countries who are present, democracies who are present, they also can cooperate and collaborate very effectively with the G7 and other democracies to push back strongly against China.